Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, intelligent, wonderful Disney attraction and food loving wife, Michelle.
I do love attractions and food from Disney. Hi.
You don't know what that's all about, but you're going to find out pretty soon. But so we are going to have a lot of fun with today's episode, which we are recording on Sunday, September 27th, 2020. We're almost to the end of September, moving into the Halloween month. Is it though? I don't know. It's a weird month this year. It's a weird year. Let's just say that.
It is a weird year. Fourth quarter almost here.
Yes, that's true. We are actually into the autumn, into the fall. It was the first day of fall earlier this week.
True.
So we are moving our way finally through 2020 and on our way hopefully to a better year in 2021 then. Although it's been okay for us, but it still has been, across the globe, it's been just a strange year.
Yeah, that is true.
But we're here. We're here to bring a little brightness into your life, hopefully, or at least a little laughter, if nothing else. So we have a lot of fun stuff for you on today's show. We're happy that you found us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can sign up for the newsletter.
Yes, please sign up for the newsletter. We have lots of stuff for you on the newsletter, from stuff from our YouTube channel, recipe each week from the Disney Dishes blog. By the way, I have a new one for this week that is right from the Fall Foodie Guide out of Walt Disney World. It's the Mickey Monster Mash Burger, which is delicious. So you'll want to check out that recipe. And that will also be on this week's edition of the Hyperion Adventures newsletter. We also have our categories for the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame on there, which we will have a new one for you this week, although it's a classic one. It's one that we actually ran last year as well, but we will be seeking nominations for that one, and you will be the first to know if you have signed up for the newsletter.
Right, and we don't use that email address for anything except sending that weekly newsletter out.
Yep, and we don't clog your inbox either. It's just once a week, usually on Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's pretty much it. We also love hearing from you on social media. We love to be active on social media, and if you want to find us there, we're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel. Hopefully you've subscribed to us on YouTube, but if you haven't yet, please search us out. All you have to do is look up for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We'll show right up there and then hit subscribe. And whenever we have a new video, which is mostly video versions of these episodes, you will know about it. By the way, if you even if you listened to last week's episode, which was a pretty popular episode, a lot of you did, you still might want to check out the video version of it, because you know how we had Sonia and Paul on from Soul Duo, and then we played a couple songs off their new album Collide. Well, they did videos for those songs, and those are on the YouTube version of this show. So you'll definitely want to check them out, and still go out and find their new album Collide. It's a wonderful album. And you're going to really enjoy it.
It's very enjoyable.
Yes. If you ever want to contact us for any other reason as well, you can always hit us up on our email, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com. It doesn't matter what the reason, we love hearing from you.
Yes, and if you have any questions for us, or if you have a question about something that we've talked about or a suggestion, let us know. We love hearing from you.
Yeah, topic suggestions are always great. And of course, input on anything that we're doing here. We love to hear from you on email. We did get a couple of responses from email, as a matter of fact, this week. And that will just lead us right into, yes, we have closed out the nominations for another category in the Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame. This week was a tough one, and I think it actually threw some people off, and we didn't quite get as many responses as we have in the past because they couldn't narrow it down.
Right, torture.
It was really, we were torturing people out there with this one, and that was Best Disney Song. So we do have our final nominations, and that will go on the ballot, and that'll be a little easier because you'll be able to select more than 5 for that. You know. And by the way, I told you to cheat. I cheated on my list. Yeah. So just letting you know. But let's get to Michelle's list first of her 5.
I did not cheat this time.
I did. I fully cheated. I couldn't pick just 5. So I fully cheated.
You know, I was thinking maybe for a future we could do it by like decades or something like that.
Yeah, well, I may narrow. Well, I'm still going to keep this category, but there may be next year additions of more subset categories like
Gotcha.
best villain song. Kind of
Oh,
like
interesting.
what we do with our 5 favorite lists, where we we do have an episode out there where we did best Disney song.
I know.
And I think we pretty much did every Disney song
Right.
during that one. But 5 Disney songs, and then we'll just kind of break into subsets at some point as well.
Cool.
So.
All right. So mine were not in any particular order. So wish upon a star. When you wish upon a star, mainly the ones that I picked are because they invoke some kind of feeling.
Right.
Obviously.
Classic for sure.
Classic. Yeah. Dig a little deeper.
Oh yeah. Princess and the Frog.
Right. The theme from Beauty and the Beast.
Of course. Classic.
Yes. Out There. It's such a powerful
that's
song.
one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the theme to Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
That's a good one. So there's Michelle's list. Now on to my cheat
I know, wow.
list. Yeah, definitely more than 5 on my list, but I broke them down into sort of 5 categories here. So my list of 5 best Disney songs. 5 best Disney songs. I'm going to start with number 5 is the theme from DuckTales, which I love so much. It's possibly the best theme out there for sure.
It is. It's great.
For number 4, well, as we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen. So for my number 4, A is Show Yourself from Frozen 2. And 4B is It Lost in the Woods from Frozen 2.
All right.
For number 3, I See the Light from Tangled. Number 2, Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
And my number 1, well, I went totally crazy with number 1. 1A is Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins.
Sure, yeah.
1B is Out There from Hunchback of Notre Dame. And 1C, well, as we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen. Let It Go from Frozen is my 1C. So I think I got like 3 different composing groups there between all those movies. And that's why I split it up into 3 different. And I couldn't pick one over the other. I like them all so much.
I get that.
So.
Yes.
So here is the list of final nominations that will end up being on our final ballot when it comes out in November, December, near the end of the year. So here's the ones that made the list. A Whole New World from Aladdin made it.
Good.
Almost There from The Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time, yes. Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins did make the list. Friend Like Me from Aladdin made it. I See the Light from Tangled. Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, even though I didn't pick it, still #Real Men Love Frozen, so that's great. Let It Go from Frozen, of course, made it.
Yes.
Very happy about that. You know me. Out There from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yay.
Show Yourself from Frozen 2. Stand Out from a Goofy movie. I was surprised. I mean, I love Stand Out.
Right.
But I was a little surprised that it made it over Eye to Eye.
I know. I had Eye to Eye on my list at first and then cut it out.
Yeah. So I was a little surprised that if they were going to pick one song from a Goofy movie, that it's Stand Out.
That's a great song.
It is a great song, and I'm happy it's on the list.
Yeah.
So, and finally, When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio. So those will all be on the final ballot. I have to go through it and decide how many you can pick from those. But then, whoever gets the most percentage points, I think we'll have it cut off at like 66% or 60% or something like that. You have to have 60%, and then you make it into the Hall of Fame if you do. So, and then we'll have a new category, which is actually an old category for you this coming week. As for today's show, we have lots of stuff for you this week, including another Disney destination is getting set to reopen. We'll talk about that. Speaking of reopening, there are more entertainment experiences returning to Walt Disney World.
Yay.
We'll definitely talk about that. And we'll also tell you when they're going to resume. The upcoming live action Peter Pan remake has found its Tinkerbell. You know, we're going to discuss that. And a beautiful tribute debuts at Downtown Disney. Yes. But let's get to today's main topic of the week. I'm very excited about this one. This is a fun topic, and I think we're going to come up with some interesting ideas. Let's get to that topic now. So this week's main topic, we are thinking about, some of the great restaurants that reside within attractions themselves, like the Blue Bayou Restaurant at Disneyland, which is right there in the middle of well, not in the middle, but at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean, or say like the San Angel Inn, which is right at the beginning of the Gran Fiesta Tour in the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot. We thought, that's just not enough. There need to be more restaurants within attractions that are themed to these attractions. So we were going to pitch out some ideas to Disney and say, hey, you should think about these, because I think we have great, and we know Disney listens to us, don't they?
Yeah, both Bobs.
Both Bobs listen to us. Yes. So, and Josh. I know they all listen to us, so we're going to throw some ideas out there and see what they end up picking up. And, if you want to throw us a little nod for suggesting them, that's fine. But we just want you to make some great new restaurants within Disney attractions.
Yay, yes. This is a fun topic to do.
So we'll I think we have like 3 each that we're going to do. And we also have some listener suggestions that we'll get to as well. But we always start with any of these little segments with Michelle. One, because she's awesome, wonderful, all things that are great in the world, but she also has the very best ideas. You remember our Star Wars series pitches? She had like several great ones, and she has great lists. So let's get to Michelle's first idea for a new attraction-based Disney restaurant.
Okay, let's see. I'm not sure which one to do first, and I actually did a 4th just in case we both picked the same attraction.
I actually have 4 too, although I'm only going to do 3, but I have 4 in case, just like you. And actually, I have like a couple in the back of my head that I could throw out there as well.
Wow,
so,
look at you, Mr. Creativity. Awesome. Okay, I guess I'll start with Pirate's Lair at Tom Sawyer's Island at Disneyland. Mm-hmm. So what I was thinking is it could be a restaurant called the New Frontier Kitchen.
Okay.
And it could be located at the Fort Wilderness portion. So then patrons can really get to view they can see the train from there, the boats coming by, like the Columbia, the Mark Twain Riverboat.
Sure.
And it would be like an early American themed fare, so it have some influences from New England, but also the South. I think their signature dish would be a smoked turkey legs, but they'd also have like fried cod fillet with hush puppies, chili and cornbread, clam chowder, and desserts. They could have s'mores or apple pie.
Love it. That sounds like a great place. I'd definitely go there. And actually, we don't go to Tom Sawyer's Island very often. And they actually draw us out there if they had some really nice dining out there on the island as well. So I like that idea. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
So my first idea, when you think of Walt Disney, you think, what was one of the first attractions that he wanted to be sure that was located within his parks? It's the railroad, the Disneyland Railroad and the Walt Disney Railroad. And if you've ever been on a classic train trip or whatever, what is there always aboard every great train across the globe? There's a great dining car.
That is true.
Well, why not? We have the Disneyland and or Walt Disney World Railroad dining car experience where, it would be very exclusive because obviously there wouldn't be a lot of room within that car.
Right.
But you get in there and they have nice tables served with white gloves and just an elegant dining experience, probably a prix fixe menu of some sort, maybe a 3-course thing or a 4-course thing. And you just, do the grand circle tour around the parks.
Be busy.
It doesn't spin that quickly. Have you been on the train? And you have this wonderful dining experience aboard, or it could be part of at the end of a tour. You could do breakfast, you could do brunch, you could do lunch, you could do dinner. It would just be a lot of fun. You could do tea. That's a great idea. Tea would be fantastic. I just think it would be a lot of fun. It would be like, again, it would be an exclusive thing because you can only fit so many tables within, a railroad dining car. But I think it would be a wonderful, wonderful experience. And just a lot of fun. And I think something Walt would appreciate.
Definitely. Oh, I love that idea.
That's my first pick. Let's get to Michelle's next idea.
All right. So my next idea, I was thinking, especially because of the music, is the Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith, and it would, like I said, the music would really be in there too. And you could kind of feel that as well. And when I was looking at this and trying to come up with ideas for food, I actually found out that they did a song on their 12th album called A Taste of India. So I thought, why not have it be a restaurant that...
When I think Aerosmith, I think Indian food. I don't know about you.
Well, the song was written by Steve Tyler, Joe Perry, and Glenn Ballard. And so why not have one that's predominant, like tandoori dishes, some curries, things like that. And I know the music wouldn't necessarily go with that type of food, but hey, it was one of their songs.
That's interesting. Now, I kind of figured if you were going to talk about something with Aerosmith and food that would be associated with them, especially with your Massachusetts/Boston background,
I know.
which is the area they're from, you would look for something along the lines of clam chowder. I mean, you already mentioned some chowder.
So I didn't want to double up
but
on.
something along the lines of seafood, stuff fare you might get when you're in Boston.
Right,
but
right.
I think that's kind of interesting. Again, I wouldn't tie it in, but Michelle's lists are always the best lists. Her ideas are always the best ideas. So that's why, I can't touch her on these items, So
But
good.
it is interesting. I mean, they did do that song, and it was based on seeing a restaurant called The Taste of India. So
Really
I thought,
cool.
well, tie it all in.
There you go. Who knew? But that's awesome. I love it.
It's the deep research
I
that you
love it.
must do for this
Yes.
podcast.
Awesome. I love it. That's a great idea.
Well,
Fantastic.
thanks. What about your second choice?
So my second one, and actually Michelle is wearing a shirt that actually ties into it. I was thinking, why not a restaurant within Disneyland tied to the Disney's first ever mountain, the Top of the Matterhorn restaurant,
Nice.
something
Yes.
along the lines of a spot near the top of the Matterhorn. Maybe they, I don't know if anybody's using the basketball court anymore. Maybe they clear that out, use that. And, have something up there, have some sort of windows that on the outside, they look like it's still the mountain, but you can
Right.
kind of two-way window, you can, one-way windows, you can see out the side of it, and have these spectacular views all over Disneyland
Nice.
Park. Meanwhile, they're serving you food that, since it's the Matterhorn, which is, part of kind of the Alps,
Right.
they're serving you food based on where the Alps are, which is, of course, Swiss food, but also French, German, Italian, maybe a little sort of fusion dishes, but kind of food like that. And you're just sitting there having this wonderful meal high atop Disney's first mountain, and it's just enjoying these glorious views. And just imagine what they'd be like for fireworks, when
Yes.
those go off, the views from up there. So.
Nice. No, that sounds awesome.
So that's my idea, the Top of the Matterhorn.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
That would be a good one. It's funny, you talked about our shirts. I almost wore my Jungle Cruise shirt.
We would have been twinsies.
Twinsies, yes.
Twinsies. All right, so what's your third idea?
All right, so my third idea, I have a prop.
Oh no, props. This works really well for the people who listen to the show.
Well, they can hear it. So, still in the box here from the Small World.
It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It's a small, small world.
Or here's what I should have prepped it for.
Car le monde est tout petit. Devant le ciel, on se dit que nous sommes des fourmis. Le monde est petit.
All right.
And you can thank Michelle for that being in your head the rest of the day.
So I figured, why not have a restaurant associated or near Small World, and call it Small World, Small Plates.
Oh, I love that idea, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And just have some, regionally international dishes, like European, Asian, African, Polynesian, Australian, North American, South American, just a lot of small plates that represent, each of those regions that are highlighted in It's a Small World.
I love it. A little tapas kind of thing, I think that'd be
Yeah.
great. I love that idea.
Well,
That's a
thank
fantastic
you.
idea. Right? Disney, are you listening? It's a great idea Michelle has, of course. Shouldn't surprise you. Michelle always has the best
thank you.
restaurant ideas.
What about your third one?
So my third one, well, what's one thing that's missing? I mean, we love Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but what's one thing that's missing from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
I don't know.
A
It's all
real-
there.
No, it has great things there, but
Yes.
it doesn't have a table service restaurant anywhere
true.
within Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So I actually have a couple ideas for possibilities within the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I'm going to start with my favorite one first, though, and that is going to be something that would take place, a restaurant attached to the hangar bay when you visit Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. You know, the classic hangar
sure.
bay where you go in there, they have all the stormtroopers.
Right.
Up there, there's the TIE fighter hanging and everything. It's just a wow moment. Well, why not have a restaurant kind of attached to that with some windows kind of looking into the hangar, and maybe some others where they're doing some of the outer space projections
Sure.
like you get when you're in the hangar, and have that restaurant be a first order, themed restaurant, and call it like the first order mess hall. So you go in there and you sit down, and then there's people serving you there, and they could be like, and when you're in that attraction and when you're in that portion of the attraction, you're getting ordered around by the people
how
that are in the
funny.
first order. Well, if you kind of think of like maybe, I don't know, 50s prime time or whatever, where they're they're telling you to get your elbows off the table,
Right. Oh,
and,
yeah.
clean your plate and stuff like that. Some of these servers could be ordering you around while
There
you're
you
having your
go.
dinner or whatever. It just could
That's
carry
awesome.
on the theme. I think the food could be items from across the galaxy that the First Order has obtained kind of during their, domination of the galaxy or whatever, So it could be all this unique fare. And I just think it would be a lot of fun, in a really kind of intimidating way, but
Right.
just all in good fun.
Oh, I love it.
It would be kind of just a cool spot.
That is
So,
great. Great idea. Great
thanks.
thinking.
And so if you don't want to do that idea, or if you want another table service restaurant in there, well, why don't we go over to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and do Star Wars Hondo's Pirate Den? Because we
Nice.
know we love
Love
Hondo Ohnaka here on
Yes.
this show. And, Hondo is always looking for profit, so he's opened a restaurant at Black Spire Outpost, of course, right there within Ohnaka Transport Solutions. He invites travelers to dine with the finest ingredients he's obtained from across the galaxy using his company.
Nice.
Sometimes obtained fairly. Sometimes maybe he skimmed a little off the top. It's Hondo, so what do you want? So, but you're going to have another, place for some unique fare from all sorts of different systems throughout the Star Wars universe. And then you never know who might stop by. Of course, Hondo will be there as the host.
Right.
He'd be what a great host he would be.
Yes.
But you never know who might stop by to, kind of cut a deal with Hondo. Maybe Chewbacca's in there to talk about the Millennium Falcon, or Rey stops by for some reason, or or maybe even Kylo Ren. You never know what they may need to work out.
That's true.
I think it'd be a really interesting thing. So,
Oh, I love it.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's my
Very
other
creative.
idea.
That's fantastic.
Thanks. Now I know you have one more idea. Let's go ahead and do your fourth.
All right. So my fourth idea would be in Splash Mountain Reimagined, and have it be Tiana's. So have it be a New Orleans style with some Creole and Cajun dishes, and with their signature dish being a seafood jambalaya.
I love it. And that's so funny because that would have led right into our next listener's comment who had a very similar idea. And
cool.
actually, I had a similar idea too, but I figured you might have it. I knew when I received this comment that he had it, so I was going to save it for you guys to do over. But I think this is by the way, since they're reimagining Splash Mountain anyway into a Princess and the Frog theme, do this, Disney. This would be great. So this is from Jonathan Cotton, who hit us up on Instagram. You can find him at Vinyl and Disney. He does great posts there, and he's a great friend of ours. Anyway, he said, so we all know Splash Mountain is being rethemed to the Princess and the Frog, but what if part of that retheming included a restaurant? And what better immersive experience than dining at Tiana's place?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How funny.
New Orleans fare and her signature
such good
beignets.
taste.
He does. He does, for sure.
So smart.
I think it'd be perfect. Like if you think of, kind of where the Briar Patch is now, that kind of trail end area that's like at the end of the ride where you kind of, after you go down the mountain and then you just kind of wind your way back towards the beginning.
Sure.
Like something right there in that spot, I think would be a perfect spot for Tiana's place.
Nice.
With the, jambalaya, beignets.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a fantastic idea. So Disney, definitely listen to that idea. And I know you're reimagining it right now. Hit that one up because I think that's great. Michelle,
Yeah.
Jonathan,
You were
twinning out in
That's
sync.
right.
Yep.
Synchronized.
Very nice. So we got some other listener comments on a few other possibilities as well. Nate and Serena, the DVC duo, they're subscribers to the newsletter, and they hit us up on an email. They said, this week's topic is right up our alley. Here are a couple of dining ideas we would love to see. First one, restaurant lounge atop the Tower of Terror.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that'd be a great idea. Great views, and you
Right.
could throw in a whole Twilight Zone
Yeah,
theme into
that
it.
would be cool.
I think that'd be a lot of fun, and
Some
that would
classic
be really
cocktails.
really popular. Next one, Haunted Mansion restaurant themed around the ballroom with ghosts, of course.
yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be
That's-
fantastic.
awesome.
Holographic images of ghosts, and
Right.
all sorts of things. I think that would be a fantastic idea.
Love it.
Finally, someone else kind of with a similar idea to Michelle. Again, Tom Sawyer Island is a perfect stop for the Princess and the Frog restaurant. So kind of tying in both of our
Right.
ideas
Yes.
there. So
Love it.
Yeah. So, and yeah.
Cool.
They went on to say, feel free to steal any of these ideas, Disney. No royalties needed. We know you're listening. So thank you,
Just a
Nate and
free
Serena.
meal.
Yeah. That's all we need.
That's right.
Free food. We're all over free food.
Yeah.
If it's free, it's me.
You're so creative.
Thank you. Not really. So moving on here, Anaheim Park Tourist hit us up on Twitter. You can find them at Anaheim Park. They said the end of line club at Tron Coaster. That's something tied into Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
But I think, with the Tron Coaster getting ready to open hopefully fairly soon at Magic Kingdom sometime in 2021, that would be a very interesting idea.
Yes.
You could do all sorts of unique stuff with that for
Sure.
sure. Justin Monorail hit us up on Twitter. You can find him at The Croots, or also, of course, the Monday Morning Monorail podcast at Morning Monorail. He said, okay, go with me here. How about a TTA People Mover themed restaurant? Booths could be modeled after the TTA train cars, and they could deliver the food, maybe fusion sushi on a miniature TTA track that passes by each booth.
There you go.
Views would be important, so the restaurant would need to be on the second or third floor with lots of windows. I love that idea.
Yes.
I sent him back, the TTA sushi mover. You know?
Love it.
Yeah, so thank you, Justin. And
Yes,
another
good idea.
fantastic idea. Anything with the People Mover involved, I'm all
Right.
in on. Maybe that would actually finally get them to reopen the People Mover out of Disneyland too. So I know that will never happen, but we can always hope. Finally, Cam Ray hit us up on Twitter. You can find him at Cam Ray. He said, I would love a restaurant attached to the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Here's where it goes a little off the rails, Cam. And it would be a recreation of the Temple of Doom Palace, complete with monkey brains and eyeball soup.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I wrote back to him, Cam, I know that this is just, you're wanting us to say monkey brains and eyeball soup on the show. And he said, maybe. I actually love the idea. I actually considered an Indiana Jones themed idea for either the Stunt Spectacular or the Temple of the Forbidden Eye within Disneyland itself. And who knows? I mean, some people, as long as, obviously not real, some people like kind of that crazy,
It could be
weird food.
a dessert maybe that looks like.
Some kids probably would order the monkey brains, it'd be kind of funny, as long as, it's like Jell-O or something.
Right.
Anyway, thank you all for your ideas.
Bravo.
I think this is a really fun topic and we'd love to continue it on. Please hit us up more on social media, or, you can email them to us, whatever the case. We would love to find out more of your restaurant ideas and what you thought of some of ours, or maybe you would like to tweak some of ours. Maybe you have some better ways to, take some of our ideas and even make them better. So Disney will definitely put these in, because I think all of these restaurants, I would eat at every single one of them. Well, maybe not the monkey brains and eyeballs, but every single one of them I would eat at for sure.
Yeah, I love them. So much creativity from you and our listeners. So that's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
And
thank
you
you,
too, sweetie.
Thank you very much. And Michelle's list, always the best. that was a fun main topic. I really think that this could be explored forever. I don't think there's really an attraction within Disney where I wouldn't like to see some sort of restaurant within it. And I think it'd be a fascinating way to approach it. And I just think the ideas are endless. We can come up with them all day long.
Definitely. And like I said, it was fun just preparing for this episode.
Yeah, for sure. I had many more ideas. One of them I'll just throw out there right now was something on with using the tree houses. Because gosh knows, the Tarzan tree house or the Swiss Family Robinson tree house, I mean, really, come on.
Right. I know. That's what I was actually kind of going with that before I went to, Pirate's Lair. But
I do think there could be something done with kind of upstairs at the tree houses that might be
agreed.
fun as well. But I didn't really completely think it out. So if you want to approach us with something like that, please hit us up. Let's get to our Disney stories of the week. We have several actually Disney stories for you this week. And I'm going to start where there's another Disney destination that's getting set to reopen very soon. And this is extremely exciting. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get out there soon. But we did think about it when they said they're reopening it, so we'll see. This from the Disney Parks blog. Given Hawaii's recent announcement of a pre-arrival testing program for those traveling from out of state, Disney is working toward a phased reopening of Aulani, a Disney resort and spa, beginning on Sunday, November 1st.
I know, so happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, it's been tough for anyone to travel to Hawaii because there's been this 14-day quarantine whenever you go there, so you can't really go anywhere or do anything there. But now with this testing program that they're putting in place, and some airlines are doing that as well. Even before you get on the plane, they're putting in programs to test you in certain airports before you even get on the plane. All this might tie in together to kind of open things up better. So they go on to say in the story, just like the other Disney destinations that have reopened, they are using a measured approach that focuses on the health and safety of our guests, cast, and community. Their gradual phased approach to reopening considers the guidance of local and national government and health authorities, including the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the U.S. Travel Association and Disney's team of health and safety experts, which, from what we can tell so far in Walt Disney World's reopening, they've done a pretty good job. It's been, for most part, a success. This deliberate approach allows them to reevaluate and adjust along the way as circumstances and the recommendation of health authorities evolve. They say, we look forward to helping you make new memories with your family, friends, and loved ones at the Aulani Resort in the near future. Please continue to visit Aulani.com for updates. So, and from what I understand, I really haven't researched it yet, but there are some great rates out there. So if you're looking as the weather starts to turn and get a little cooler, if you're looking for the get out to that warm climate, maybe Aulani's in your future, and especially if they have great rates for a place that's usually fairly expensive to get into. Maybe this is your chance to experience Aulani.
Yeah, that is a great point. I didn't even think about that. I was just excited to hear that they're reopening, and I know that a lot of people, especially with families, totally enjoy the experiences that you get out there. But that's a good point, honey, that, with the weather getting cooler in some parts of the country, that's an awesome destination to look into.
We considered it ourselves. I don't think we're going to make it, at least not now, but we did. We heard about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, we do. We got a couple Walt Disney World trips coming up here, not till 2021, but we've got a couple planned that we're excited about. So moving on, speaking of Walt Disney World, something else to be excited about, we have more reopening news for you as a few Disney World entertainment options are set to return.
Yeah.
Again, from the Disney Parks blog, they've been pleased to be able to reintroduce a number of guest favorites, this is from their story, to Walt Disney World theme parks in recent weeks, along with some fun seasonal surprises. Yesterday, when we were recording this, they announced that another popular entertainment experience, which is really exciting to me because as we all know, #Real Men Love Frozen. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration is returning to Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yay.
And what theater is that in?
I would say Hyperion.
It is in the Hyperion Theater. So they're just speaking right to us for sure.
Yes.
Actually, we've, as much as I love Frozen, you love Frozen.
I do too. Yeah.
We have actually never done that. And
I know,
I've heard
isn't
it's
that funny?
great.
I know.
And so we have to do that when we get back to the Walt Disney World
definitely.
Resort at some point. So anyway, moving on with the story. Beginning Monday, October 5th, you can once again join Eric and Arya, the royal historians of Arendelle, for their comedic retelling of the unique story of their kingdom, filled with delightful sing-along moments from Disney's Frozen and special appearances by Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration will be the same incredible show guests have loved for the past 6 years, with some adjustments to staging and audience seating to allow for appropriate physical distancing. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So
cool.
Very happy that show's returning, and we're looking forward to checking it out once we
Right.
get back there in early 2021 for our trips back to the Walt Disney World Resort. Some other things that are happening there. During your visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios, you'll want to be on the lookout for some of the biggest Disney and Pixar stars as they make their way up Hollywood Boulevard and across the park in special pop-up motorcades. Rolling intermittently throughout the day, you never know when some of your favorites might pass by, so they're not going to tell you a time so
Right.
people aren't gathering so
Right.
much. But every once in a while, these motorcades will just come by. Each celebrity motorcade features stars on the street and others like Mickey Mouse, Edna Mode, one of
Nice.
Michelle's favorites,
Yes.
or Doc McStuffins, riding in colorful custom convertibles. The Mickey and Friends motorcade highlights Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Pluto, and their friends Chip and Dale, accompanied by a bouncy musical score inspired by Disney cartoon shorts. The Pixar Pals motorcade takes The Incredibles, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and others down the avenue waving to their fans to the beat of the Green Army Drum Corps. And the Disney Junior Stars motorcade brings favorite TV friends Fancy Nancy, Doc McStuffins, and Vampirina to Hollywood Boulevard. So
That's great.
more,
All of those.
again, it's one thing right now is, yes, you don't get approach the characters. You're not going to get that character interaction necessarily as much, the meet and greets. But they are trying to do their best to give your little ones and, the little ones at heart that character experience
Right.
still while you're there in as safe a way as possible. And these motorcades
Yes.
seem to be doing a good
That
job
sounds
of
like
that.
it'll be really entertaining to catch.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah.
Also, Disney Junior fans are all invited to join the fun at Disney Junior Play and Dance in the animation courtyard. Each party performance throughout the day features a dynamic DJ spinning favorite songs from Disney Junior TV shows, plus special onstage appearances by Disney Junior stars such as Mickey Mouse, Vampirina, and more. So
Nice.
another great way for the
Yes.
little ones to kind
Right.
of shake it out there and have some good
Yeah, you want to do that again, honey?
A lot of things. I got that quarantine 15 working, so a lot of things are shaking on me right now, for sure.
That's funny.
Moving on to the next story, Disney's upcoming Peter Pan live-action remake has found its Tinkerbell, and it's really interesting and exciting news.
Yeah, got a lot of traction on social media.
For good and bad, by the way.
Yeah.
But, we take it all positive
Right.
here. We're excited about this. I think it's a very, very cool cast announcement, by the way. So this is from people.com. Yara Shahidi is taking a trip to Neverland, they
Yay.
say. The Blackish and Grownish star announced on Friday that she's set to play the role of Tinkerbell in Disney's upcoming live-action Peter Pan and Wendy.
Right.
Yeah, so cool. The 20-year-old actress revealed the news on Instagram, sharing a photo of herself looking away from the camera while wearing a bright green V-neck coat with a bejeweled purple turtleneck underneath. And she just said, let's go.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell, and so it's very cool. The upcoming Disney film was directed by Pete's Dragon director David Lowery and will be a live-action version of the 1953 animated movie. Shahidi joins Alexander Milani as Peter Pan, Ever Anderson as Wendy, and Jude Law as Captain Hook. Also funny, we haven't really discussed much about the casting for this movie, but interesting that Ever Anderson will also play a young Natasha Romanoff in Black Widow whenever that movie finally hits the screens. I think it's been pushed back to May of 2021 now.
Yeah.
It's been pushed by an entire
Right.
year. So whenever that gets there, she'll also be in that film as well. But that's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
really excited and very interested to see this new take on Tinkerbell, and it should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And it's just exciting to hear more things are happening within the movies and the film industry. So that's really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. I'm very excited about that. And I'm very excited about the movie. And I'm very excited about the cast announcement. Now, finally, last story I'm going to get to this week. There was a tribute to an amazing person that debuted in downtown Disney this week, and it's absolutely perfect.
Yes.
This from the Orange County Register. A former Walt Disney Imagineer paid tribute to the late actor Chadwick Boseman with a mural of the Black Panther star making the Wakanda salute on a on the side of a downtown Disney building. The King Chad mural, as it's titled, was done by artist Nicholas Smith, and it was unveiled on Thursday on the side of the former ESPN Zone building in the outdoor shopping center, which is next to Disneyland. The mural shows Bozeman and a young boy in a Black Panther mask, both making the right over left Wakanda Forever salute. It is just, it's so beautiful and touching, and encompasses who he, at least as far as we know, who he was as a person.
Right. I think, I totally agree with you that, the mural really captures the heart that he had, for, obviously doing film, but also for children, for making things just better and happier. And I really loved it. It was, very tearful to see it, but I loved it.
It's beautiful. And just like you said, I mean, the one thing we found out about him, and knew this before going in, but we didn't know that he was, battling cancer for the last several years. But, throughout this battle, he was visiting children within these hospitals that were also, in similar fights to him. And it was just so heart touching to know that he was doing all this and suffering somewhat. I mean, he had to be, I mean, and yet he was out there, brightening these children's lives. And that's what this mural encompasses so really well.
Captures it nice.
Yeah. So this is from the artist's statement next to the artwork at Downtown Disney. It says, quote, "Seeing Chadwick's heart for people in person and later discovering his courageous battle with cancer, I was inspired to create this tribute to honor his life and legacy," end quote. You probably know Bozeman died of cancer at the age of 43 in late August. Of course, the actor was best known as playing King T'Challa in Marvel's Black Panther and the Avenger movies. The artist Smith was on hand for the unveiling of the new art installation and posted photos of the tribute in his Instagram account. He went on. He also said this along with it, quote, "To millions of kids, T'Challa was a legend larger than life, and there was no one more worthy to fill those shoes than Chadwick Boseman. I'm so thankful to be able to honor Chadwick's life and purpose in this way," end quote. It's beautiful.
Nice, yes.
Find the pictures if you haven't seen them already. I want to get to Downtown Disney just to see it myself.
Exactly.
I know it's been kind of crazy at Downtown Disney. I heard the other day that they had to cut off parking after like 5 minutes because everybody's going to Downtown Disney. But eventually, I'm looking forward to get there, and I hope that mural stays up for a long time.
I'm sure it will. I mean, it brings so much to the location.
And it really couldn't be a more deserved subject than Chadwick Boseman. Just so great, and we appreciate all he's done on the films, but yes, off the films as well. So great. So that's it for my Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And we always start with Michelle, one, because she's beautiful. Look at her. She's wonderful. She's all things great in the world. She has the best Disney ideas, Star Wars ideas, lists. She also has the very best tips. So let's get right to it. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
Oh, you're so sweet. I do find it interesting that of the two of us, the one who had a Star Wars song on their top 5 was not you.
I went with more classic Disney.
I went with more Frozen.
Still classic Disney. I also could have included like the whole soundtrack to Hamilton on there,
true.
But I went classic Disney
that
and just, steered away from that. So.
Yes, I'm just teasing you. But anyways, okay, so back to my tip.
And by the way, Rob will never let me hear it, or let it in that I didn't have a Star Wars song in my song, so whatever.
So since we were talking about food today, I thought my tip would be associated with food, and it's really just in terms of preparing for that 60-day advanced dining or ADR reservation window to really help make sure you're securing the reservations that you want. And these are, they're common sense, but just things to think about and to double check on. So first of all, you want to create your list and then prioritize by what you truly want to make sure you're getting, and then maybe tagging each of the things that you think are the most difficult restaurants to get into, and then before your booking date, really double check, now that you have to do the Disney Parks reservation, that you're picking the date that you want to the park that you have the reservation.
Yeah, that's important right now because you cannot go to the other park if you forget. There's no hopping.
And you don't want to, waste time that morning when you're trying to really make sure you're getting to the ones that are most important to you. So having that preparation in advance to really make sure, okay, on this day, I'm going to this park and I want this restaurant, just so that you're, like I said, that you're making sure you don't have any issues with discrepancies when you're trying to do that, and have that all set up and actually get into the system before 6 a.m. Eastern time, so that you can be right on it to nab your reservations.
Very nice. Yep. It's really important.
Yeah.
It is. Especially to some of the key restaurants. Like if you want to get into Be Our Guest or, some of them, you really need to be on the ball and get that reservation.
Exactly. And go in the order of the hardest to get first, not sequentially by date or anything like that. But the ones that are hardest first, go with that.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, I guess it really depends on, where your park reservation is for right now, but just assuming in the future that you eventually we're going to get to go and park hop or go to whatever park you want on any given day. When you're making those reservations, remember that some people may have started their vacation, their window may have opened up before you. Right. So at the beginning end of your stay, your vacation, some people may have already booked some of those reservations. Same goes for fast passes once those come back or whatever. If you're looking for that hard to get reservation, you may want to go more towards the back end of your vacation if you want to get to Be Our Guest or some of these other restaurants or fast passes that are more difficult to obtain. That way, that window for people that are starting their vacation later hasn't opened up yet. So you kind of have more availability to get some of those.
Point.
So eventually when we, for the dining reservations, eventually when we get back to things being somewhat more normal and fast passes and so forth go up in the future. So Michelle's tips, always the best tip.
You're sweet.
My tip also has to do with dining a little bit. And I just want to quickly remind you that if you're going to go ahead and get that advanced dining reservation for some of these restaurants within the parks especially, but it goes for any of these restaurants. But like you say, you get a reservation for Disneyland's Blue Bayou, or you get a reservation for the Sun and Hell Inn at the Mexico Pavilion inside of Epcot and World Showcase. Really, I mean, while they're good restaurants, the food is fine. There's nothing wrong. If you really want to go and be in those restaurants and experience it to their to the maximum ability. Ask for a table by the water, by the edge, so you can get that view of the bayou when you're in the Blue Bayou Restaurant, the Pirates of the Caribbean, the boats going by. Or, the Sun and Hell Inn, watch, nearby the pyramid and the boats going by there. Because otherwise, if you just get a regular table somewhere in the middle of the dining room or whatever, you can kind of see these things off in the distance, but it feels more like you're just eating at any other restaurant. And really, if you pick these restaurants, the food is fine. But it's not like it's so over the top that it doesn't matter where you're sitting. You really want to have that prime location, and you may not be able to get it, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And if you're willing to wait an extra half an hour or whatever to eat, that might secure you that wonderful spot right by the water. And that also goes for any of the other restaurants too that have some of these, they have a main dining area and then maybe they have some side rooms on like Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen has a couple side rooms that you really want to get into because they're a little bit quieter. They have some unique other trinkets around them that are cool to experience. Same with Be Our Guest. The side rooms are, the main hall, the ballroom there. It's kind of cool to see the ballroom, but you can see it anyway. The other side rooms may be a little more quiet, just a little bit more better dining experience there. It's worth asking and trying to get those, and usually they will accommodate you if they can.
Especially if your dining reservation is more of an off hour. If it's, in one of the peak times where they really have to turn tables, they might have a harder time accommodating those requests. But I know that they really do try. If you really want something like that, you might want to consider having, either very early or very late compared to the bulk time of their bookings.
Yeah, not the standard lunch, dinner, if it's breakfast or brunch, not the standard time, something kind of in between somewhere. If you can hold off and eat at a different time or have a snack somewhere along the lines to kind of tide you over and the little ones over until you get to that point. But really, and it's just like anything else, with the attractions, you can ask for where you want to sit. If you want to sit in the front, if you want to sit in the back, if you don't mind waiting an extra turn or so, right. A lot of times they will accommodate you. And the same with the restaurants, as long as you don't feel like you need to get in there first thing that's available. Right. If you ask, a lot of times they will seat you in the location that you want. And it does increase the experience that much more, especially at some of these attraction-based restaurants. You really want to be right there next to the water if you can.
Yeah, and it also helps when you're have that level of humbleness to say, look, I know this might not be able to happen, but if it can, we'd appreciate it. And doing cast compliments whenever they do assist you.
Exactly. Cast compliments, always great. You should. They work really hard and they go over and above very often to make sure your vacation is the best it can be. Right. Cast compliments are the best way to let Disney know that these people are doing a great job, because they do hear about it. They do see it and they do hear about it.
Right, exactly.
So that's it for this week. Next week, well, it'll be the first week of October, or as we in old school radio like to call it, Rocktober.
I love it when you spring things on me.
So we're going to celebrate Rocktober by counting down our 5 favorite Disney rock and roll moments. Now, this can mean a lot of things to different. What is a rock and roll moment could mean a lot of things to different people. Is rock and roll the music? Of course. Can rock and roll be an attitude? Yes, it can be an attitude, a situation, something that's really cool that happens. That was really rock and roll, really a rockin' moment. So it should be an interesting list to kind of find out what our 5 favorite rock and roll Disney moments are.
Yes.
And to help us with that list, we are going to be joined by our friend Tombstone Josh from the Disnoids podcast, because he's a rock guy.
Yeah.
His show has a rock edge to it. So we figured who better to invite on the show to discuss rock and roll moments during Rocktober than Tombstone Josh from the Disnoids podcast.
It's going to be a blast having him on the show. We're looking forward to it. We've been wanting to do it for a while now, and so happy that it's finally coming up, and he's just such a wonderful, warm person. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great friend of ours on social media, and he's always been very supportive of the show. And we finally figured out a time and a topic where we can get him on, so we're very excited to do that next week. So that'll be a lot of fun. As for today, we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
please sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. We put out all sorts of information about the Hyperion Adventures podcast, the Disney Dishes blog, whatever's going on. You will be the first to know if you sign up for the newsletter.
Yes, and we love hearing from you. If you want to send us an email giving us some feedback, or if you have questions for us. And what we truly love is hearing that you tell a friend.
Yes, please tell friends about this show. That is the best way for them to find out. If you have time to leave us a review, great. A rating, fine. A review, even better. But just telling your friends is really the easiest way. And like Michelle said, if you ever want to contact us through email, you can hit us up on our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can hit us up on social media. Please follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And also go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel and, check out some of these videos where we do some interesting stuff. You can see me shaking, see all this Quarantine 15 moving when I shake it out there. That's all on the YouTube. You can see the doll, if you want to see the doll that Michelle had singing to you earlier. That will be on the YouTube as well.
It is an official Small World doll still in the box.
Doll. Still in the box, so I'm
never
safe.
Been out of the box.
Luckily, it's still in the box. So I'm safe. It's not going to come and get me, I don't think, out of the box. So,
okay.
All right. Again, off the rails. Let's end it. Thank you for listening to the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.